Hey guys, it's Sutonia here, and today I'm going to be talking about another Lowsec specific fit. This time I'm going to be talking about the Lowsec Factional Warfare Comet, specifically a Rail Comet. This fit is pretty much the gold standard of Lowsec right now. It's overabundant. I think it is kind of on the slight side of being overpowered, but it's not powerful enough that I think it's a huge problem. But I think it's something that's definitely deserving of, like a small clip in power once CCP gets around to looking at the faction frigates. So in the highs, I've got 250mm railguns. With max skills, you're going to have a 9km optimal, which is great because that ties into, the whole scram kiting game. You've got a lot of DPS at the range too. We're rocking out like 180 DPS with heat to that range, and we can heat our guns for a long time thanks to the fact that we only have 2 guns and there's a spacer module in between or just an empty slot, so we can heat them almost indefinitely, or at least before our target dies or we die. So it's pumping out a lot of DPS to that range, about 230 DPS. Then I've just got a compact AB, a faint scram, and a fleeting web. These are just standard tackle mids. A small ancillary. For really efficient armor repair, double mag stab, tech 2 damage control, and triple structure rigs in the rig slots. For drones, I'd recommend you run Acolytes and Aurora IIs, just because that's the damage type that you can't do with your turrets, so it's great to sort of get around reactive armor hardeners and that kind of thing. And the total cost of the ship is quite cheap. I'd recommend you carry Caldari Navy Antimatter, Spike, Javelin, and Caldari Navy Iridium. Most of the time, you're just going to be using Antimatter, kiting at 7-8 kilometers, just within the optimal range. But Iridium is really nice to carry, just because it gives you range. It has like a fall off of 29 and optimal 21, so it's really good for getting rid of kiters on you if you get caught by like a Condor or a Slice, Tristan, those kind of ships. It's really useful to get rid of them, and I actually got caught by quite a few kiters in this, and none of them were able to kill me just because I was just able to force them off, or either kill them. I'd also recommend you probably carry drugs with this, standard Exile, and possibly Agency Tank Booster 1, just because a lot of people in Lowsec are running implants or other advantages, and this is just kind of nice to run, just to kind of get around those bonuses. I personally am not running any kind of implants. I just run 3% small hybrid and 1% all turret damage. It's about 5 mil for both of those implants combined, if not less than that. If you can pick it up on buy orders. However, the 3% hybrid implant has actually increased quite a lot recently, so you might not want to run with that because it's getting a bit expensive. But anyway, the whole point of this Comet is that it's really versatile. It's quite cheap as well. It only costs about 30 mil for the fit, maybe 35 if you include these 2 boosters here, and maybe 40 if you include the implants, which hopefully you might not even lose. So 40 mil for a really solid frigate. And again, probably around 30 mil if you want to cut out the extras. The Comet's just so good because it's so flexible. You can kill most close range brawlers with this. It's fast enough to get out of range, and you kill them at 9k. You've got really high stats for a scram kiter. The almost 2k in structure, HP plus double mag stab. It's a lot of DPS. To range, like you've got like better than most like brawling all-in frigate stats at 0, which is fantastic. And also, like I mentioned, with the Iridium ammo, you can also force off kiters, so you don't really have to worry about getting caught by a Condor or Tristan or any or Slice or any of those kind of ships. The bonuses on the Comet, in case you're interested, are tracking. Again, another great bonus that ties in quite well with the railguns. You don't really have to worry about people going under your guns. Even like dual web AB ships can't really go under unless they have like snakes or something. You just like heat AB, double click away. Tracking bonus is good enough, and it also helps you kill the kiters at 24k as well with the Iridium ammo. And then just 20% bonus to small hybrid turret damage per level. The only unfortunate thing about this ship is Galanti Frigate 5 is almost completely required because of that bonus. Unfortunately, it doesn't get like a roll bonus or anything like most pirate ships. So if since you get like 0.4 effective turrets per level, if you don't have Glanty Frigate level 5, then you'd probably be better off. You'd do more gun DPS than Curses or something, which is kind of unfortunate. But I get in Lowsec anyway, you probably want Glanty Frigate 5 because most people are running perfect skills and sometimes pretty expensive implants. The most important thing to bring with you on your Comet, however, is the Police Pursuit skin. I've got some police surveillance footage of me apprehending some suspects in Black Horizon Placid. I hope you enjoy, and definitely check this ship out because it's really cheap, efficient, and it's very versatile and a lot of fun to fly. So this first fight is against a Griffin Navy issue. Now Griffin Navy issues are very dangerous because they often have MWD plus double racials or free racials. They have ECM so they can jam you, and then when you're jammed they can basically just perma-run MWD to stay on top of you the entire time and just melt your blasters. Of course, their optimal range is actually only 7 kilometers on their ECM, so you need to scram kite them really well. Try to keep them like 10-11 kilometers away from you at most, and then go in for the kill once you see they blow their ECM cooldown on you. You can see in this fight he blew his cooldown. It appeared on my HUD he failed the jam because he used it at 10k, so then I go in and become more aggressive to make sure I can finish him off and get the kill. Griffin Navy issues can be scary, just remember to be very defensive against them. Most of the time you can outpilot and win the fight against them, especially if they have multi-spectrals instead of racials loaded. In this fight I'm warping in on a Cormorant in a small site. Be careful with engaging destroyers because a lot of the time they can really wreck you, as you'll see in this fight. So this guy's on a beacon, so I expect he's going to probably be blasted, so I decided to heat AB and burn away as fast as possible. And he has void loaded here or something. You can see he stopped hitting me, and he instantly reloaded to something else because he's not doing any damage to me right now. So I get a lot of good damage in here and I come in close, but it seems like he's reloaded to null because he's starting to actually wreck me really hard now. You can see here he's doing like 1/3 of my armor, if not more, every single volley, and it's really dangerous. So here I immediately start pulling away. I know I can still win this fight because of the fall off range of railguns. So even though this looks really bad, I know if I can break away and get to like 15k, I can probably just finish him off with the drones and from the fall off. That's what I'm able to do. So be really careful, especially with those blaster Cormorants. That was pretty close. I think if I reacted like 1 or 2 seconds later there to like pulling back away again, he probably would have killed me there. So that was a great fight. Beware of destroyers, especially railgun, Cormorant Catalyst, especially any kind of coercer. Don't fight anyone called Mr. Chunky. So in this case, I'm just chilling in a novice and a firetail came on scan. I took my boosters. Normally a firetail in Lowsec is dual web artifit, although they can also be autocannons too. I'm not too bothered about trading with an artillery firetail though, so I just chill at 9k from the beacon just to be ready to see what kind of fit he's in. I guess some kind of like AC fit with a nuke could actually be really dangerous to a rail Comet, and it looks like he is definitely a close range fit because he brawls in straight away, and I see the 200mm autocannon in my damage log. So I'm hitting AB here and I'm trying to pull away. Hopefully I can get away from him. He was in actually a dual prop control firetail, which is more of a nullsec fit, so I kind of had a really huge advantage here. And I'm able to sort of chill at 6k, and he has to heat his AB to keep back up with me, and I'm able to take him down with relative ease. If it was an arty firetail, normally you can outtrade them in this rail Comet because you do a similar DPS, but you have way more EHP than the dual web arty Comet. Arty firetail. So in this next clip, I am warping in on a Federation Navy Comet. I immediately noticed that he's micro-warp driving around, and he's a bit faster than what you'd normally expect from a Comet. Normally expect about 3.5k a second, so he definitely has a speed mod. So he's going to be in a rail kiting fit. Now this Scram Kite rail Comet deals with kiters very well. There's actually no way that a longer range Comet should be able to kill you. Because you'll just outtrade him because the rail kite Comet is spending much more resources on his fit. his cap is a lot worse than yours because he has to run Disruptor plus MWD, and he has to spend more resources to fit the Disruptor and the MWD than your AB and Scram. Also, he's going to have significant tracking issues here, whereas I'm not, because he's running MWD the entire time, whereas I'm just running an AB, so his SIG is much higher than mine, whereas my SIG is comparatively low because I have the Afterburner, so he's never going to be in a situation where he outtrades me by orbiting like this. Like, I think his only real solution is to try and, I don't know, he doesn't really have an option to kill me here. And it looks like he stays way too long and ends up dying to me completely untackled. I think he had a friend in a fire tower stiletto maybe coming to help him. That's why he stayed too long on D-scan. But yeah, this just goes to show you how good this Comet is, and you don't have to fear getting scram-kited so much. So these next few clips are going to be a series of fights versus Federation Navy Comets. You should always try and play passively against Comets to begin with, just because you can easily force off the long-range rail variant if it is that. If it comes in, you just won't be able to kill it, but I guess that's fine. Most of the time, the Comets are either just going to be blasters or they're going to be like another rail variant like yours, and since you'll trade equally with the rail variant no matter where you are, you should always play passively to avoid blaster variants, and this ends up being a blaster Comet. I made sure I was like I burned it at the right angle to begin with, made sure not to go too close, and only really commit and come in here once he's pretty much screwed and he's never going to win the fight at this point, since I've already burned through like half his ancillary charges and he's in depot. So yeah, always play passively if you can. In the mirror matchup, it doesn't make sense to be close range. Don't focus on catching like longer range rail Comets because they're really rare, and like I demonstrated in the previous clip, they can easily be forced off. It's better to just not get the kill on a long range Comet than it is to die to a blaster Comet. So as I mentioned, make sure you really respect blaster Comets. Here I warp in and there's a Comet just kind of chilling here. I should have reacted a lot faster here. I sort of just chill on the gate. I should have maybe took the gate and slid, or just reacted a lot faster with burning away. So it ends up being a blaster Comet, and he gets really close to me straight away because I was a bit sloppy with attacking him. I was a bit late on the nano repairer here too. So the blaster Comet starts really wrecking me here, but I'm hitting AB and I'm faster than him actually. So I end up pulling a bit of range here, and I almost kind of win the fight. But really respect blaster Comets and make sure you play really passively. As I mentioned, you don't have to worry about getting disrupt-kited by a Comet in any case, because you can always win the trade and force them off. Here it looks like kind of like I'm maybe gonna win because I get like further than 5k from him, but unfortunately I end up just getting finished off by his blaster. I think if I just lived like, or just reacted like a second faster, I probably could have won that fight. It also kind of sucks that I had the armor penalty from the booster that I had at the time too, which might have also made a difference. Oh, probably not though. But yeah, it's make sure you respect the blaster Comet. This next fight is against another rail Comet, but it's kind of a weird fight, so it's kind of interesting. So this guy immediately like pulls away. I think he's just doing the normal strategy of testing to see if I'm blasters or not. But I reload to Iridium here because he's actually playing really defensive. Like, he's still hitting AB away from me right now. So I reload to Iridium and do a really terrible job of not activating my gun for 5 seconds. But then I put Iridium on him and start shooting him. I'm not sure what he was doing here. I think he was planning to maybe try and soften me up a bit before. I mean, that could be a viable strategy maybe of, like, go to 20k, shoot another rail Comet, get rid of their shields or something, then come in. Once, if you like get a like a traded advantage, and I don't know, maybe if you lose the trade, maybe you can just warp out or something. That might be like some like meta game thing that you could do in a like Comet versus Comet. But he definitely loses the trade there, and he comes in despite losing the trade, which I guess is pretty bad. Unless he thought that maybe I wasn't whole. He was also like a whole rail Comet. He was the same fit as me actually, except he had Tech 1 hull rigs and a very slight difference in fit. But, I'm able to finish him just because he lost the trade there. at the start. I thought it was kind of a weird tactic, and I thought it was kind of interesting that he did that. It seemed like he played a bit too passively, and it cost him that fight. Just one last Comet fight to wrap things up. Again, you know, as a bit too aggressive here, make sure you play really passive against these Blaster Federation AV Comets. You want to kind of play passive, try and get to like 10k, check to see if they're rails or blasters first. But he's blasters, and I pretty much get away from him. I don't think he was heating AB. I'm heating AB here, and I'm actually faster than him. It's a bit lazy here using keep it range 7.5k. But you can see here, Blaster Comet doesn't really have any kind of way to win this kind of trade against a Rail Comet. So as long as you play passively, Rail Comet can deal with these Blaster Comets quite easily. And also you have the versatility of being able to deal with longer range kiters, and you can deal with a lot of other ships too. So yeah, definitely check out the Rail Comet. I think it's one of the most versatile and probably the best fit in FW Lowsec right now in terms of faction frigates and low I guess budget fits. By budget, I mean I think 30 million ISK for a frigate is about the entry cost for factional warfare space right now, and you definitely need Galanti Frigate 5. But yeah, this ship is really fun. Might get a nerf at some point, I think, just because with the structure rigs, it got a big boost, and it's probably like I mentioned, probably just the number one frigate in abundance right now.